Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. Hi everyone. What a fun day this was. Yvette and I have never met before, but we became friends due to our shared connection with Lynn. We met on Father's Day in Muizenberg. The plan was to find a quiet coffee shop, do the recording and then meet Lynn for lunch, after which I would record my conversation with Lynn. Yvette was down for the weekend from Mossel Bay, while Lynn had to be in Cape Town from Saldanha. What luck that was. Unfortunately, due to Father's Day, we could not find a quiet place at all and had to work with what we could get, which ended up to be a busy and noisy restaurant. As it was also raining, we could not even sit outside. The sound quality of this recording is bad, but the content of our chat is rich and I found it very rewarding. This podcast is supported by the First Layer, the 12-step workbook on working through the 12 steps in any addiction in 21 sessions. There is also a 24-day step coaching and counseling program available based on the First Layer. For more information in this regard, go to www.freddy.org.za and click through from the notices at the right of the homepage. Yvette is an artist and is also an alcoholic in recovery. This is her path. Sit back and enjoy. Right, and we are live. Yvette, welcome to Meet Me in the Field.
Thank you.
It is so awesome to meet you. I was sitting in the bath this morning wondering, are you an old new friend, or are you a new old friend, or what are you? Because today's the first time we meet.
Yeah, today's the first time we meet, but
we've had a lot of contact. We started off with Facebook friends, and then we started chatting on Facebook, and then we just had mutual interest in terms of recovery, and mutual friends, and I used you for some work that I'm having done. I'm still excited about that because Yvette is an artist, and I used her to paint the Meet Me in the Field logo for us.
Yeah.
And I'm busy having t-shirts made, and I'm going to have coffee mugs made with that painting on them. So if you buy a t-shirt or if you buy a mug, you're going to have a copy Yvette Hess on your mug or your chest. What we're doing is Yvette lives in Mossel Bay.
Yes.
But when I got to know you, you were living in Langebaan.
Yes,
Saldanha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saldanha.
They're very close to each other, am I right?
Yeah, it's about, depends how fast you drive, but about 23 to 50 minutes drive.
Okay. So further than I thought.
Yeah, it's...
I don't think I've driven that road sober, so I normally drove it stoned, and it felt very close. Whoops, like those time lapses, and there you are.
Yeah, I am at KFC in Langebaan. Yeah, no, I remember those nights.
I have arrived. How did I get here? So, but no, you now live in Mossel Bay, and you're currently in Cape Town for just a bit of a holiday and a workshop.
Yeah, so I did the workshop a few days ago, but there are other things planned.
Cool.
That I'll share with you.
And you make a living as an artist.
I do.
That's excellent.
It's not a great living, but it's a very rewarding living. I became an artist, I'd say, about 2 years ago. I would say full-time. I'm actually an IT auditor by trade. I know.
How did that happen?
I actually, when I was younger, I was very creative, and I went to art workshops and things during holidays, and I would keep the kids busy. And my dad asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "An artist." He's like, "No, artists are poor people." I was like, I could see you disappointed, so I went into the Sunday Times newspaper and I looked at the career section, and one of the highest paying jobs was a chartered accountant. And I decided I'm going to be a chartered accountant. And I happened to be good at accounting, and I did really well, went to varsity. Then I dropped out because I wanted to be a dancer. These things happen. And I became a dancer.
Did you go to UCT or?
No, at first, when we lived there, because we moved, I was born in Cape Town, we moved to the Free State in 93. So
how old were you then?
7.
And where in the Free State did you go?
Sasolburg.
Oh my God.
I know.
Why then?
My dad was in the Navy as a fireman, and they had that almost like like an exchange program thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. And then he was transferred to Sasol, the fire brigade there.
That's what I would call a shitty exchange.
Yeah, but it was, for me, it was great to grow up there, even though, I don't I don't experience the culture of Cape Town and all of that. But it was interesting. I learned a lot about people and myself that side. So it was a different world, you know. We used to walk to Spa and people used to just stare at us. Because I mean, I was the first person of color at my primary school.
Are you serious?
We couldn't get me into other schools. They would just, you know, avoid us coming through. Or when we do come for meetings, they would just like not see us after an hour. We would stay at the school. And there was only one school that would take me, and that's where I went.
You must have felt like but as my mother would call the pimple on the poople, the Paisiopie poople. You stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kids that also left because of me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was hectic. It was really, because I mean, that was 93. That was before changes and stuff.
But change was still kind of already seriously happening. It was inevitable, you know. You had to accept this.
You had to,
yeah.
but it was like only
so they
like
were
made
just
official
living
later.
Yeah.
So I had a very progressive principal, and but I mean, times still it was very tough.
I can imagine.
So yeah, for a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
For a 7-year-old.
So you just don't belong. It's that must have been absolutely terrible.
Yeah. I mean, you already feel like you're different.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but you are different. You're in that environment where somebody tells you, and you're made to feel that you're
constantly aware of the fact that you are different.
Yeah, exactly.
Oi.
Yeah, but I mean, I did really interesting things like join the foot trackers, and I did really well.
You did it.
Yes.
You were a foot tracker.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember in standard 2, there was a boy in my class. I think his name was Daniel, if I remember correctly. And he was a foot tracker. And I wanted with my whole heart and my whole soul, I wanted to be a foot tracker. And I don't know, I don't think I ever asked my parents. I was just too ashamed. I don't know what it was, but I never got around to actually doing it. But I always looked up those little uniforms were so cute.
And all my badges. Oh my God.
So did you have the whole lot? Were you an overachiever?
Yes, I've always been an overachiever. Proud to say, yes. I mean, I did foot trackers, I was in choir, scholar patrol.
Kunswedstryd?
Yeah, I did all of that stuff.
So were you in Afrikaans school and stuff?
No, it was an English medium school. But I was very involved in the Afrikaans side.
Okay.
I had a teacher, primary school, I think at that time it was Sabi. I would say she took me under her wing. But she was also, she was involved with the foot trackers, and she wanted me to be a part of that. And
so you were a groundbreaker wherever you go. You're kind of
I think so.
one of those icebreaker ships that could just go.
Not taking this cuck anymore. Something like that. No, I think also, sometimes if we put those rules, or it's almost like we're trying to be something else.
Yeah.
And we're really, I feel, as an alcoholic, I was trying to be something else. And if I don't claim the label, I also feel like I'm trying to be something else, or trying to please somebody else. So I do swear also quite a bit.
That concept of overachievement, of just wanting, it's virtually kind of buying acceptance. And I'm only going to be okay if I am the best at everything.
Yes.
If I do this, if I do that, maybe I will get the love, maybe I'll get the acceptance, maybe I will fit in, maybe I will. It was always just maybe. The okayness was always somewhere else.
Yes.
It wasn't with us.
Exactly.
Are you the oldest child?
Yes.
Okay. Of how many?
Of 2. So and we're 3 years apart. 2 girls.
Okay.
But we were raised in a way, to be independent guys. So helping with the changing plugs and doing this, women should be able to do this, that kind of thing.
Cool.
And I think that's also where I get my strength from, or that sense of wanting to be independent.
Okay.
I get it from that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And did you grow up religiously or spiritually, or?
I would say so. We were baptized Old Apostolic, and it's it's quite a strict.
Old Apostolic.
Yeah,
Okay.
quite a strict
that's
church.
quite.
Yeah, with full hats and that kind of thing. And the church is quite strong in our family on my mom's side. My dad's side, not so much, and this is from a different church. But I think I felt also very constricted in there.
Okay.
And I think also in my recovery, because you have to look into whatever your higher power is.
Yeah.
I found it very difficult to do that because I have this strange relationship. It's
This
almost like I'm
re-
fighting against something all the time.
Yes.
And then I also need that relationship within my recovery.
Yeah.
So I found like I still, don't know where to place my feet.
Yeah. So as a child, did the whole Jesus thing resonate with you, or did you also felt there that you didn't belong for some reason?
I think definitely that I didn't belong. I was very uncomfortable with the idea that I'm weak. I didn't want to be seen as weak. And we were also drilled as young kids that, don't be weak. And I wasn't really a fan of being sensitive, and I was a very sensitive child. So I didn't want to be seen as weak. And in my church, or my understanding at that time was that, God is strong and you are weak and you are imperfect. And I always felt broken because of it.
Okay.
And I felt it was difficult for me to rely on this higher power to help me up when I didn't want to be weak to begin with, and now you're already telling me I'm weak.
Do you mean like in the Christian faith tells you that you're weak because you sin and because you need God and those type of things? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right, I get that, yeah. Oh, I've never thought about it that way.
That's always been my experience, and I think that's why I still struggle to this day, just to feel vulnerable.
Okay.
In that sense. I'm vulnerable, I allow myself to be vulnerable in different spaces, but this one is a very tricky one, and it's taking me time, and I'm trying to give myself also that slack to say it's okay to learn, and learn as you go along.
So let me just kind of try and get that in my head. So you are taught to be independent and strong. You go to church and you are taught that you are weak because you're a sinner and you need God in your life because you sin.
Yeah.
Yet you already feel you don't belong, which makes you have to be strong to fight to kind of belong. Good God.
Now there's my book right there. Thank you.
I get this picture of this poor girl being torn apart. Like, you're standing being completely torn apart between these things. And you're also very open about your depression and anxiety.
Yes.
At what stage did that feature in your life?
The fact that I'm open, or the illness itself?
At what stage did you become aware that this feeling is not okay?
I would say with my first suicide attempt, and that was around 19. I think I tried to block out the years. I can never remember, but it was before I was 21. I felt like a failure. I just dropped out of varsity and I was dancing. It was the first varsity attempt, and I was dancing and it just wasn't working. My parents weren't,
What type of dancing did you do?
It was modern dancing, Zulu dancing, whatever tickles your fancy.
So you left studying for a chartered accountant to dance?
Yes.
Your father could not have been happy.
Not happy. That's such a lovely way to put it.
Is that the understatement of the century?
Yes.
You must have been furious.
They were very, very disappointed, especially because at that time they were still paying for my studies, and they decided to sell the house to pay for the studies, and then Yvette decides she's not going to study anymore, and obviously the dancing doesn't seem like it's viable. You go from accounting to that, to what's wrong with you. But I think I was also just acting out, and I was trying to
find your place.
Also as a teenager, I mean, besides illness and stuff like that, as a teenager, I was really struggling to find a space that I felt comfortable within. So,
and you didn't find that in church?
I didn't.
You just at what stage did you stop connecting with church? Did you stop going? Did you get Christians as a child or as an adult?
No, as a child.
As a child.
I think when I was, I loved my matric year because I could say, no, I'm studying for my matric exam, I don't have to go to church. So it started then already.
Okay, so that's where you started subtly distancing yourself from it.
Yeah.
And were you living at home while you were at varsity?
First 6 months, no, I was on campus.
Okay.
Best years of my life. Worst marks of my life. But it was just, I needed that experience as well. But I was catching on to many things, and then I was brought home for the second half.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I dropped out in the second year, my
Okay.
second year of varsity.
So, how were you as a teenager? Because you're this overachiever, but were you also a rebel, or were you fitting in, a compliant?
Initially, I was a very quiet child.
Okay.
I tried not to give any problems, and literally quiet. You wouldn't know if it was around.
Good grief.
Yeah,
And the feeling that I get from you in the little time that I
and
know
I'm like the
you
opposite.
it's like I see you as this. Yvette is small. I know you can't see her, but she's not exactly a big person. I always seem like this little, I don't know, little chatterbox.
Yeah, and there's no off button. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. It's a defect. I didn't have an off button.
So, when and how did that change?
I would say in my varsity year.
Okay, so you came
because-
out of your shell.
Yeah, I came out of my shell. What happened was I was very quiet and struggled with relationships and things in high school. I always felt out, and I was one of the few people of color in this big group of friends that we had.
Okay.
And as much as those things were changing, I still felt, I think, because of the introduction that I had
Yeah.
into this world, I didn't feel good enough.
Yes. How old were you? Because you came back to Cape Town from Sasolburg.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
It was 2007, so I was at 23. Yeah, I think 23. No, I can't do maths on with a mic in front of me.
I can't do maths. Full stop. You were still at school though.
No, I just had my. Oh no, I was around 21. Yeah, 21
So
because I had my son, and I just celebrated my 21st birthday, and that's when my parents decided that we're gonna move back. My dad did a lot of traveling towards 2005 around there, and in 2007 he decided that we need to come back to Cape Town. Or he gave us a choice: live in Iran because he was living there at the time, or live in Cape Town. So we chose Cape
Live
Town.
in Iran.
Yeah, he was in Iran. But just before we moved back, I was at varsity there, and then I dropped out, and I worked as a creators clerk, and I was dancing as well,
Okay.
doing shows and things like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was even on Morning Live.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Morning Live, guys. It's Morning Live. So yeah, we actually did a show for them.
Was it solo or group or?
Yeah, with a group. So I was with a dance company.
Okay.
But it was more like entertainment than, I would say, fine art dancing, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
Yeah, so then we moved here 2007, and I started UCT in 2008.
When did the drinking start?
I would say my first memory of drinking, not to get drunk, just drinking,
Yeah.
was when I was much younger. I think I was in primary school, early high school, and my mom loves making tipsy tarts. Now, tipsy tarts,
Ooh.
and she's so good at it. You're supposed to put a couple of milliliters in, and she's just like, Oi. Yeah, and she's not a drinker, but that was the thing, And I wanted to taste it, not in the cake. So she would keep it in the food cupboard, and I tasted it, and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I'm never drinking in my
This is
life.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Until the hot glow beat you.
And then I turned 18. And that's when my boyfriend at the time said, no, wait, you're 18 now. You need to drink. Because I told him I don't drink. He said, okay, but at least when you're 18. And we need to go to the casino. So we did both in one night. And I got drunk.
Oh my god.
And
Which
it was the
casino
best,
was that?
It was Emerald Casino.
Okay.
Yeah, in Vanderbijl Park. It was the best feeling ever to be drunk.
Oh, my word.
To not feel, and just be happy. Everything's funnier. I was dancing well. It was like I wasn't scared of anybody. It was just amazing, and it just started from there.
Yeah. It's amazing that I remember my first joint. That for me. Suddenly the fear disappeared. It was as if that barrier of fear that I lived my life was just kind of.
It's just the way that we cope, and other people use different ways,
Yeah.
and we just kind of got lost in that
Absolutely.
coping mechanism. And I feel like, so many people judge me for using that coping mechanism, but you're using something else.
Yeah. You tried to commit suicide at 19. But at what stage did you realize that you're depressed? Or did it never
No, it never.
dawn on you?
No, I didn't. I think the reason why I like it when people write about, like blog about their depressive episodes or what they feel, and watching videos about it, is that you see the lived experience. You see what it looks like practically for different people.
Yeah.
And first of all, you see that it's different for different people,
Yes.
manifest in different ways. And
We're
I think
all individuals. too.
yeah, so besides there being a list of symptoms that you can maybe resonate with,
Yeah.
but you need to be able to map it to something, to a daily life. And I never had that then,
Okay.
so I couldn't see it.
Yes.
So maybe, I mean, if somebody else was trained, they would be able to say, okay, she's speaking even less, or she's, because I was dating at the time, but I could feel that I was pulling away.
Okay.
But I didn't know, I wasn't that much aware of it, you know, or I could feel it every now and again. I'm just like,
Okay.
whatever. You keep blowing it over, blow it over. But if I had that information then, or somebody said, okay, just take note.
Yes.
Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. Just take note. I would have seen more.
Yeah.
Then the day that I decided to tempt, I decided I'm going to make my dad a cup of tea. I'm going to offer, because I never do offer, and that was like a problem. And the way I offered was a problem when I did offer. So obviously it was just like, okay, do you want a cup of tea? So now I was like, okay, would you like a cup of tea? And that
And then
for
you
me,
sound sarcastic.
like, I can't win.
It doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound real.
And then after that, I just decided, but it was a weird kind of decide, man. You don't like, it's not like you're telling yourself. You're just like, this is the last tea I'm going to make.
Yeah.
You won't have to complain anymore, or I won't have to let you feel like he's let down, or I'm letting him down.
Yeah.
And after I made the tea, I wrote my letter and I put it on the side. I asked my sister, would you want to sleep in my bed, because we both had separate bedrooms. And she's like, yeah, sure, which was also out of the ordinary. I don't know what my mom was doing, can't remember what she was doing. And then I decided to, before my sister came to bed, and take all the pills. When I looked at the side effects, you know, because I thought that's an obvious thing, you look at the side effects before you take something. It was all like coma, because I didn't want to die, I just wanted to sleep. I didn't want to feel what I was feeling anymore.
Yeah.
And I went to sleep, and I woke up throwing up, and I was very upset with myself that I was still around, and
Yeah.
I rushed me to hospital. I had to get all that stuff out, because a lot of the meds started taking effect. I was very sleepy, so in and out of sleep for a couple of days. But when, obviously, with being discharged, they take you to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist just told me, like, no, you don't have to worry, you don't have to be scared, there's just two sides to you. But I didn't feel like he was giving me the answers, like, to why I was feeling like
Okay.
this. He didn't say anything, or maybe he did, that it was like a chemical imbalance. He just told me you need to take these meds. And I think because I was like very young,
Yeah.
I also didn't understand. And then obviously went for therapy, and I couldn't connect with people. And a lot of the therapists that I had were all like very religious or so.
Okay.
And that also made me uncomfortable. From that experience, I always walked around with this feeling there's something wrong with me. Nobody can understand me. I feel alone. I'm the only one who's like this. And then only when I started blogging and reading more about other people's experience, I understood that I'm not alone. But I couldn't understand why nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
If it's happening such a lot, why are we not talking about it?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I
And that's
find
where, that's
myself.
where all of us kind of try to break that mold. Kind
Yeah.
of, guys, let's talk about this stuff. It's okay around the dinner table to discuss that.
Yeah.
Because I got it in the addiction field as well, where people would call in and they really won't know what to call it. There's especially family members, they won't know where do I go. And they say, I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing. I said, well, you made this call. That is the right thing to do, because I realized that it's not something that you discuss around the dining room table. If my son has an addiction problem, who do I call? People just don't say that. So you are effectively lost.
You are lost, you're on your own.
Yeah.
You don't even have the energy to want to look after yourself, but here you have to make this big call and get help,
Yeah.
you know.
So at what stage did the drinking start escalating?
Okay, so I drank a lot.
Oh, you should have seen that face.
I drank
Surely
a
you
lot.
knew we were going to discuss that.
It's like, yo, we're gonna get quite specific. I drank a lot the first round of varsity, obviously, because I was like introduced to it, and it was free for me because I was dating the SRC president.
Oh
and
my God.
You know, the stuff was overflowing, and because it was free and you're a student, you kind of just indulge more.
Yeah.
And obviously you have stories to tell, so you have to get drunk. And then I had my eldest son when I just turned 21, and then obviously I had to stop drinking. But I remember when I was struggling with breastfeeding, they said, no, you can have milk stout. And I was so flippin' excited. And I never thought that that's a problem, that I was so flippin' excited.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it as a problem, you know. And you kind of walk around with this ghost. And I would drink, when we came to Cape Town 2007, I would drink, Black Label, and some like quarts and glasses. I had an aunt, I'm not going to even mention her name, she would pour for us, right, while we're doing the dishes. And I would drink of it, and when I look again, my glass is full. And I'll just carry on and on. I wouldn't say stop,
Yeah.
you know. It's only now that I'm aware, like, I allowed it, I wanted that to happen. And also want to note that my grandmother, and on my dad's side, I do have family who are alcoholics.
Okay. Invariably.
Yes, and I never wanted that for myself, and I'd always like, I don't want to associate with that, and I don't want to look like that.
Were you aware of that as a child, that your grandmother has a problem?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember many a time we would go to her, and she'd drunk, and she would sing like jingle bells and stuff, and I could smell the alcohol, and I was so uncomfortable by it, and I didn't want that, and yet I didn't turn into that, but we share that.
Okay.
And I think that was also part of my part in fighting the stigma, because that's what you think it looks like, but it also looks like, in my example, hiding the bottles in the cupboards.
Ah.
Empty bottles, full bottles, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's taken me a very long time to see the stuff now, like, retrospectively, and to see that I've had a problem for a long time, and I'm just covering it up with, I'm a student, it's just a party.
Yeah.
Why so many parties? Why you carrying on with that one excuse?
Yeah. Do you think the alcohol contributed to your decision to stop studying?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so. Maybe?
You know how they say that what we do is, instead of addressing our behavior, we rather readjust our goals.
This actually would make sense then, that I would rather work, because then I would have money to buy alcohol than study.
See, that type of thing. One of the best quotes I've ever heard was one that says, "The day that I realized that my circumstances were dropping faster than I could drop my standards, was when I know I wasn't shit." So we constantly drop our standards to adapt to where we are, and to make that okay.
That's interesting. I wanted to say though, like, I think the drinking got a bit more out of hand when I was in Saldanha, actually.
So when did hubby happen?
The year after I was diagnosed, 2012. And that was the time I was studying full-time, I was a student leader, I was managing bands, and I was working at UCT.
Oh, wow.
And I was a single parent.
Good girl.
And still, I don't know how I got stuff done. I really honestly feel I was manic for extended periods, and then just like, the episode ended.
Yeah.
And then Yvette just kind of got lost. So I met him in that time that I was going down, and I told him, look, I was diagnosed last year by a GP, and that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. And he's like, okay, let's look at how we're gonna.
Was he a student at that stage as well?
No, he was working.
Okay.
He was working in Saldanha, and I was in Cape Town, so he would travel
where
every
did you
weekend. Where did we meet? My sister was actually dating his neighbor.
Oh, okay.
and it was for quite a few years, but we only met like in the 3rd year.
Okay.
And I was dating somebody else at the time, and we went to my sister's ex's birthday party, and he happened to be there. And that's where stuff went down.
That we don't have to censor because you're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Now you met husband, and you're in Cape Town, and he's there,
Yeah.
and then he obviously asked you to marry. No.
I first felt pregnant,
Okay.
but we when we met, we were just like, okay, we're gonna get married. But it's like, yeah, let's take our time, and then boom, we met in March, pregnant in August,
Okay.
and we were married by December that same year.
Okay.
So everything happened very quickly, very very quickly.
And then you moved to Saldanha.
Yeah, so
From
we
this
lived
hectic life in Cape Town.
Yeah, we moved because I was working at Deloitte, and then I got married, and then I worked at Ernst & Young. And then I stopped working because I fell pregnant again. So it was like the 3rd baby, and there was a lot of complications, and I was ill also, and not dealing with things at home. And then I decided to stop working, and my psychiatrist also at the time said, you know what, you haven't been a mom, so you should probably be at home. And I think it was probably like the worst decision I could have made, because I'm not a home person. I'm a people person, like be around people. And that just kind of set it further in stone, like go into depression. Even when I was in Saldanha, I was depressed often, and I had to go to the clinic in Cape Town quite a few times.
So the depression was quite bad at that stage, and the drinking?
Yeah, I tried not to drink because of the medication,
Okay.
but that didn't stop me. My psychiatrist, the initial one, said, yeah, you can't drink anymore. And I was like, oh, damn it, like, how am I going to be okay? How am I going to be fine? How am I going to laugh? How am I going to be at parties?
Yeah.
How am I going to explain that I'm not drinking anymore? And then the second psychiatrist, the female one, said, look, I'm not going to tell you, don't stop drinking, but don't mix your medication. So what I would do is I would drink and then not take my medication.
Oh my God.
I was like, the drinking makes me feel good anyway.
See what I mean with we
Yes.
adapt our priorities to the drink?
Yes. Yeah. But nobody picked it up. Only when I got my psychiatrist in the West Coast,
Okay.
that she started asking questions about the drinking. And my therapist as well. And she was like, don't you think you have a problem? And I was like, no. I don't have a problem. I can control my drinking.
Okay.
But the drinking was obviously controlling me.
And your husband was never telling you kind of stop when this is getting out of hand or fights about it?
You would hint about it and say things like, it's not like you have to drink. So we don't have to buy the wine now. Or, like, why must I buy another bottle? Didn't you just have a bottle yesterday?
Okay.
But all those, the things that he said always made me feel, probably because I was, kind of aware of it and feeling guilty about it, would make me feel like, he's accusing me or something. Or he's
Yeah.
about to label or telling me I have a problem,
Okay.
and then you get like defensive and I would always make excuses and stuff.
You sound like a real alcoholic.
Yeah, who knew?
While all this was going down, where were you with spirituality, with God, with religion?
I don't know if it's because I'm an emotional person. In my church, they would say it's not because I'm an emotional person. They would say it's because I'm a gifted person.
Okay.
So whenever I would go to church, especially with like when I was going through difficult times, I would get emotional. I would cry in church, and I would just feel, it's almost like some would say like feeling the spirit. But because of that conflict, I couldn't label it as that.
Okay.
So when I did feel like down, I would pray and just like help lift me from this where I find myself. But at the same time, I also felt like I couldn't rely on that
Okay.
because I was, imperfect. Yeah, but anyway, it's a very strange way of thinking of it. That's just how I made sense of it, or nonsense.
Did you feel judged?
Constantly. I mean, I didn't have to wait for somebody to judge me. I would
Yes.
look at you and I would fill in the gaps for you.
Yeah, I always say you don't have to judge me. I do that very well for myself. Thank you very much. You don't have to break me down. I do that excellently. It's one of my
I'm a professional.
specialities. At what stage did the art come into it?
My therapist in Muizenberg picked up that I really enjoyed the art classes at the clinics.
Okay.
And because I was also struggling with being at home, constantly in the house with the kids and things.
Because now you're a mother of 3 boys. Is that good as well?
3 boys.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She felt that I needed to make time for Yvette.
Okay.
And she said, because I enjoyed the art, I should try to go to art classes that they in Muizenberg, usually on a Saturday. And I was like, oh, but it's expensive and all that. She's like, just try it. Once a week or like once a month, just go. And that's when it started. That's when I was introduced to it.
Okay.
And it just kind of evolved from therapy to me just really loving every minute of it and really pouring myself into
Because it sounds as if it happened very quickly.
It was very quick. It was really, really quick. I went from going to classes to also get to speak to people because I was always in the house. So I got to make friends and then also learn technique. But I think I was also very curious. And because I'm just ambitious by nature, I wanted to learn more and learn fast.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay, we need to get internet now because I need to check YouTube. I need to do this. I need to learn more.
No, I suffer from a disease of more. So, give me more.
Have you, like, I'm an overachiever. We need to.
Yes.
And so I felt like, okay, I need to now step away from that and then focus on this craving that I have to know more. And I started posting the stuff on Facebook, and then all of a sudden people wanted to buy, and I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And that was very quick. I would say painting flowers and pictures that I found on the internet and boats and stuff. Within a year and a half, I wanted to go into more expressive stuff. For me, it was very daunting because I was surrounded by people online even that was just, they were obviously painting what they were seeing, but I wanted to paint what I was feeling.
Ah, okay.
And that for me was very scary because I also was
Because
scared
now
of
you're
this.
going to pay your soul on canvas and it's going to be there forever unless you paint over.
Yes,
And
and
people
I would
are going to
actually
see it
have to
and
face
they're
what I
going
was
to judge.
Exactly.
Ew.
It was also, I was just trying to surround myself with people that I admired and who were doing that. Exactly what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And then it felt a bit easier.
So then your focus changed. So you looked for other things on the internet and joined other groups.
Yes. And also, I think also, instead of observing just what people were painting, I was now observing and reading up on these stories as well. I've been blogging that time, it was about 4 to 6 years anyway. But I thought maybe there's a way that I could combine it because I love both. So the creating the art and then also the writing.
Yeah.
And I've always been a sharer, so I thought this is a natural move, I just have to trust what's coming.
And eventually you came into recovery.
Eventually.
How did that happen?
I met Lynn over Facebook, like most friendships these days. I actually saw that she was in a blogger group and she said something about the West Coast. And I was like, that's weird. I'm from the West Coast. I live in Saldanha. And she's like, I live in Saldanha. And it turns out she just lived around the corner from me. It was so weird all this time. And she was just there. And I saw she was blogging about addiction and alcoholism and things. They're going to put the thing back on her. It was just also at the same time that my therapist and my psychiatrist was like broaching this topic with me.
Okay.
And it just worked out nicely, so I read a bit more and I asked her the one day, I think we were actually 4 bloggers at the table, wanted to do something. And then I said, I just want to know, Lynn, is it normal for me to drink every day and hide the bottles in my cupboard where my husband won't see? And then she's like, I don't think it's normal. And then, we spoke then, she's like, calm me down and stuff like that. And then we were about to leave and she said, don't worry about it. We can talk about it. I'm like, okay. And then we had a little meeting thing and she said, okay, I can take you to AA. And
how scary was that?
Oh, no, it was amazing. It was the best It was just what I needed at the right time.
Okay.
I felt so at home
Oh, awesome.
because I already had that. I find the comfort of the label of bipolar disorder because I know what I'm dealing with. I wanted to know what I was dealing with.
Okay, yeah.
And I never liked feeling alone, even though I've always been alone. So I knew that I had that to look forward to. I'm no longer gonna be alone. So for me, it was
Fantastic,
more
yeah.
that kind of thing. I could just be vulnerable and like imperfect, and
Yeah.
you know that something wrong with me, and it would be totally okay.
Ah, yes.
So I had a really good experience.
Awesome.
I didn't even have to say anything. I could just be,
Yeah.
and I was,
In a safe space.
yeah, totally safe. I went. She didn't go again with me, so I went alone after that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was proud of myself for still going afterwards.
course.
And it's also weird. Once I started speaking about it, I even did it at my son's birthday party. I met with one of his friends' moms, and she wanted to see my Instagram account. And then, like, well, alcohol came up in the Instagram feed, and she's like, "Oh, my husband is also an alcoholic, and he goes to the AA and stuff. You must just tell me when you want to go." And I'm like, "Wow, look how the universe is
Yeah.
like working for me." Yeah.
So how long were you sober when you moved down to Muizenberg?
No, that was already like a couple of months, but still early days. I'm now 300 and I think 20 days sober, so I'm going for that 1
So it's
year.
nearly 1 year. Oh my word.
Yeah, I'm like thinking, what am I gonna drink? Tonic water.
Milkshake,
in a
obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna have milkshake, but then they must pour it into a champagne glass.
Woolworths makes a flavored grape juice. Vanilla and pomegranate.
Don't lie. Really?
It is lovely. That's what I drank at our wedding, and it looks exactly like champagne. So, well, everybody knew I'm in recovery,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel out.
It's, you still have to do the work in terms of why are you drinking.
Absolutely.
If you're drinking, like even there's one stage I thought I had an issue with tonic water because they got now the flavored ones. The rose one is my favorite. I can't finish. I mustn't, or it'd be a problem if I'm finishing 6 cans within an hour.
Absolutely,
Why am I
yeah.
doing that?
Absolutely, yes.
So as long as you're doing the work before the time,
Yeah.
I think then it's safe.
Yes.
I really do want to try that de-alkalized wine. Not to have wine, but I just want to know,
Yeah.
what it tastes like.
I was in the beginning of my recovery. I was very, they in AA they tell you non-alcoholic drinks are for non-alcoholics.
Yeah.
So I was very, very afraid of non-alcoholic drinks. I'm okay with it. I don't go in search of it, but if it's there, I'll have it. But anyway, so now you came into recovery. Where and how did the spiritual angle come in for you?
When I lived in Saldanha, I got to meet another blogger. It's also one of Lynn's friends, Siobhan. She's a
Okay.
crystal healer.
Okay.
And I think she introduced me to alternative healing / alternative spirituality.
Okay, yeah.
But it gave me an opportunity to look into what works for me.
Yeah.
What allows me to feel safe but also empowered at the
Yes.
same time. We don't have the same rituals or that kind of thing, but she just, like I would say, opened the door or showed the door
Yeah.
for me, and I got to walk through.
Awesome.
So in this recovery, I've been doing a lot of that kind of work, and in terms of angels and universe and God and all of that type of conversation,
Okay.
having with myself on a day-to-day level. And with the recovery, I feel like I'm sober and sober of heart and
I like
brave
that.
enough.
Sober of heart.
Yeah.
That's a nice word because that's exactly, yeah.
Exactly, and I feel brave enough to actually ask the questions and answer, the
Yeah.
ones that I'm ready to answer in terms of that space. 'Cause that's been like a big thing, for
Okay.
me. And I always found it like even in AA, people would rely so much on God and spirituality, but I couldn't make that shift yet.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm finally getting
Slowly
there,
but surely,
slowly
baby
but- I think
steps
I'm in
getting
second
there.
gear now. Maybe I'll go to the third. I'm still going up a hill, and first is a bit too much.
Okay. But is art a spiritual experience for you? A spiritual practice?
That is a very, very good question. Somebody complimented me the other day, and I still haven't replied to the compliment. It was such a big compliment, and it was more. And I took it to my therapist because I said, like, sometimes I get complimented and I freeze.
Okay.
I don't know how to respond because I'm like, this person, how can they think that of me? But it was going into spirituality. She said, if you think of yourself when you create and you don't take that responsibility, like, this is all you. If you think and you allow yourself and you think, I'm actually being guided, this is pouring from something else, and you're an instrument, would you feel comfortable with that? And then I was like, yeah, I would actually feel, not only because like less responsibility to worry about what people think, but it's also, I feel a lot more like valuable, like I was chosen to have this gift, so there must be something special about me.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think art has given me that opportunity as well.
Okay.
To explore spirituality in that sense.
Cool. How old are the children now?
11, 4 and 5.
Okay.
I would say they see now, mommy's more vocal.
Okay.
Mommy is more present, even though mommy's a lot more busier than what she used to be. When she's not busy, she's more present.
Okay.
And mommy's not waiting until 4 o'clock for the nanny to go so she can start drinking, Yeah, they value that more. I can see. So I can see these things are changing at home. And in terms of my husband, he definitely can see I'm a lot more vocal, and hear that I'm a lot more vocal. I don't think they talk about this a lot, that when you are with somebody, like in a relationship or marriage, that when you are the supporter, you also need support. That's the first
Absolutely,
thing.
yeah.
And the second thing is, they try to press on you like, you're not your illness, you're not your illness. But when somebody's ill for a long time, you kind of see the person as a patient. And the patient feels like a patient, And very often you lose sight of the individual. So the person's now my supporter and I'm the patient. And I forget that person is my husband and I'm the wife.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot of work from both sides to remember, to go beyond that.
To actually redefine the roles in a way, yeah.
Now with alcohol, you could see that it was important to me. So he has respected that. I mean, initially when I said, no, I want to stop drinking, or I need to stop drinking, he's like, no, maybe one drink like a month or something. I said, no, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
And as much as I had to allow myself to be vulnerable, he also needs to see, like, my wife is even less